right, so I'm here with Kyle Kesterson from Freakn Genius. Thanks, Kyle, for having us out.
Yeah, thanks for coming down here.
Absolutely. So today we're going to talk to Kyle about how to successfully launch a product. So Kyle, first, just give us some background. What is Freakn Genius? Where'd you guys come from?
Freakn Genius is a bit of an odd mix of, illustrator, designer, toy developer, deep science engineers, game developers, and then just hustlers in general. So it's a really bizarre mix of both, I'd say, arts and sciences. That's how we like to think of it. And we came out of a weird idea, Seattle Startup Weekend. Had nothing to do with what we're doing now, but it was kind of gelling the team. And since then have gone through 4 different accelerators to getting to launching a product.
Okay, so what does Freakn Genius do?
So right now we're building mobile software to help people bring photos to life in seconds. And those photos could be anything from your family, your pets, your friends. But really it's bringing creativity to communication and helping really get people's personalities through their devices.
Okay, cool. So Freakn Genius is really like a creative firm that's putting out really fun things for people to interact with.
Yeah.
Is that a good way to look at it?
Sure.
Okay. And so the most recent product you launched is called Yak It, which is what you were just describing. Tell us a little bit how that the launch process went with Yak It.
So for launch, leading up to launch, we knew we wanted to get to that prototype, the MVP, and we're all about the iterative process. So what was the core thing that we could put out there?
Mm-hmm.
And we weren't sure if we wanted to do the organic, we'll just kind of put it out there, see how people adapt to it, which we experimented with, putting it in Canada first as a way to get people using it, see how people use it, and help that inform like a larger launch where we put more resources behind it.
Okay.
So we let that sit out there without telling anybody really for about a month and learned enough.
Yeah.
We learned enough to really feel strong to doing a public launch. And so we spent a few weeks, filled out about 100 different spreadsheets of different tactics and ways to tell the story and get the product out there.
Okay.
And we really leaned on the community to help us create a bunch of noise.
Cool. So one of the other things that I know you did is you used something called Endorse Lee to kind of help create a story in order to launch Yak It, which I thought was really interesting. Can you go into a little bit of detail there?
Yeah, Endorse Lee was kind of like a last minute stroke of, I won't say brilliance, but it wasn't my idea, so I guess I can call it brilliance.
Yeah, there you go.
It really was. It was last minute inspiration. We knocked this random idea out in 24 hours from idea to actual website. But the premise is we were launching a service where it was the cheapest, easiest way to get a celebrity to endorse your message. And the point is we wanted to hijack something that was just super popular, which is celebrities. It's really easy to tell a story through and build excitement around using celebrities. And it actually is a use case for the app, but the service was completely separate. And we just wanted to get people talking about it, sharing, and then creating these video requests that we could then use to launch our actual product.
Okay. So what I think is really interesting about this, as an entrepreneur myself, is that you took something that you were going to launch and use something that had, maybe some commonalities and push that out to essentially create some sort of buzz around what you were doing, right? Yeah. So if you were to talk to, another entrepreneur that's thinking about launching a product, what kind of advice could you give to them kind of in that same vein?
Well, I think it's really all about the story. Being able to tell something interesting about your product to the person that you feel is going to be using your product. The more concise and kind of core that seed is that you can pass along to them, that they can grasp onto and then share to other people, the more powerful. So we look for interesting ways to tell the use cases and to excite people. And I think that from what I've seen in all my research and in experimenting ourselves, the better you are at being able to reel people in and build up excitement, the more it'll spread. Okay.
And then you also mentioned that you've been a part of 4 different accelerators, which I think is like jaw-dropping for every entrepreneur out there. That's crazy. What kind of value did you get out of that? Would you do that same process again, or how did that go?
Another 4? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you have an awesome accelerator, no.
Yeah.
No, so I personally really like the energy and momentum that an accelerator provides. You know, stepping off into creating your own entity, your own project where you are essentially you're responsible for your own well-being and those of your founders. So you're looking for that pressure, that accountability, and then there's an incredible pressure that comes with a hard deadline and a lot of people coming to you to expect you to deliver. And I think we would just we perform really well under pressure.
Yeah.
And also accelerators, especially coming at you with different ones. So like Reactor is more of a gaming focus. Techstars, Seattle was more broad, but they're deeply connected to so many successful entrepreneurs. They're just throwing resources and really smart people at your problem.
Okay.
And so it's definitely wouldn't be sitting here right now if it wasn't for at least 2 of the 4.
Cool. Okay, so if you had one kind of nugget of wisdom or kernel for entrepreneurs out there that are watching this video regarding launching a product, what would that be?
Yeah, that's a good question. Honestly, you're a scrappy startup. You have to be big. You have to be bold. You can't. I mean, just go for it. I like and when I say go for it, it's just be super aggressive with how you tell your story. Again, it goes back to telling your story, but also being super organized. It's really easy to get sucked up into the chaos of, I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do this. But there's ways that you have to use simple tools for organization to be able to align your team, and then especially if you're connecting with others to help them, how can you very simply give them something that's effective to push on and tell your story. And don't be afraid to spend some money. We try to push it off as much as we can to be just kind of like an organic growth. And you create a bit of a flare, but already it starts to die down. So what is your step 2? What is your step 3? So pay attention to the follow through as much as the launch.
Awesome. Well, this is Kyle Kesterson from Freak'n Genius. Thanks a lot, Kyle. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Chet.